Hello everybody. Back in early summer, I was outside and I found a female bold jumping spider and she was missing a portion of her front limb. Now, normally I let nature take its course and I figured she would be okay, but I went ahead and took her in anyway. She wasn't quite fully grown, so I figured she had at least one more molt to go, and I was almost certain that she hadn't yet mated. A few weeks later, she emerged from her final molt, and after about 10 days, I introduced her to a young male who was so large I figured he had completed all his molts. However, she wasn't having it, so I didn't press the issue. A few weeks later, I observed her on many occasions staring at the male in his container, which was just a few inches from hers, and so I figured she might be ready to mate by that time. However, I thought I would film and photograph the encounter for a video. So I set up a nice area for the occasion along with all my camera equipment, but the male ran off, and then while I was dealing with him, the female ran off as well.
RUNNOFT.
However, during all that, the male spotted her, then began his dance. So please bear with me as, instead of procreating in a nice place meant just for two, they did it in the corner of a cardboard box like a couple of back alley hobos. However, aside from all the issues, notice how long the male's front legs are compared to the female. That helps to distinguish the male jumper from the female. Once you see them a time or two, it's easy to identify the male by its front legs. And the male uses those front legs, for one thing, as part of the dance to impress a female. He sort of waves them around in the air, which is similar to the courtship of a lot of jumping spider species. What he is doing when he does that, or what he is communicating, I have no idea. At first, the female seems a bit scared, but she eventually turns her abdomen sideways, probably indicating she is receptive to the male's advances. While the courtship was still in progress, I thought it was a good time to move my video camera, and of course, she received the male during that time and copulation began. I had to rush to get any sort of footage, so again, please bear with me. Anyway, the male uses his swollen pedipalps to transfer semen into the female's reproductive opening, which is on the underside of her abdomen. While I've read that this process can take more than an hour, this meetup only lasted about 7 or 8 minutes. Often, the male spider is smaller than the female, but here, this male is quite large and healthy, so I don't think he was too worried about the female killing him. And I didn't know it at the time, but this male still had one molt left to go. He is now probably the largest bold jumping spider male I have ever seen. At the conclusion of copulation, I often see males bolt out of there so as not to become lunch for the female, but here it's the female who jetted off. And why not? She got what she needed from him, and he's quite a bit larger than she is. So she may have been a little intimidated, but I must add, I made sure both the male and female were well fed prior to mating. However, as you can see here, the male was left dumbfounded. He threw his legs around again, without success. Here, he looks at me as if I knew what was happening, but I was as confused as he was. The bold jumping spider is among my favorites. I'm pretty sure it was the first species of jumping spider I ever saw, so there may be some nostalgia there. It is one of several species of jumpers that you may occasionally find in your home. And on that note, the first one I saw was probably crawling across the popcorn ceiling of my childhood home. Bold jumping spiders are native to North America, but have been introduced to Hawaii, the Netherlands, and a few other places. Like most, if not all jumpers, they are solitary. However, they do produce silk, which is used to create safe spaces for themselves and their eggs, and to create drag lines. This species, and all jumping spiders for that matter, are master hunters. They stalk their prey and use their keen eyesight. They will also ambush prey as well. Once they're in range, they leap onto a victim with lightning fast speed. It really is shocking to see how fast they jump. And as I mentioned previously, you may see one crawling on the walls or ceilings of your residence, but don't worry, they're not there to harm you or your pets. They will eat any pests they locate, however. Inside dwellings, they will eat flies, cockroaches, brown recluse spiders, crickets, wasps, and even black widow spiders if they find them. But getting back to the bold jumping spider, also known as the daring jumping spider, they can jump many times their own length and subdue prey much larger than themselves. With the bold jumping spider, the Latin name of which is Phidippus audax, the species name audax is a Latin adjective meaning audacious or bold. This name was first used to describe the species by French arachnologist Nicolas Marcellus Hintz, who described the spider as being, quote, very bold, often jumping on the hand which threatens it. Bold jumpers, like most spiders, have 8 eyes, and those eyes provide great vision. A team of researchers at Cornell University determined that the lateral eyes of bold jumping spiders are outsourced for detecting motion, while the interior median eyes have very fine vision similar to humans. Just a word of caution here, but the following scientific footage may be a little disturbing to some spooder lovers, and I'm not certain the outcome of the spider used in the experiment. Some years ago, the researchers conducted a neurophysiological analysis of the vision in jumping spiders. They sedated a bold jumping spider by a short refrigeration process, then secured it in a 3D holder and some wax. They made a tiny hole in the back of the spider's head, then inserted a tiny electrode into its brain. While the spider was secured in front of a monitor, a film of a housefly moving across the monitor was played. The sight of the fly triggered several classes of neurons in the spider, and the researchers learned much from the project. The researchers also discovered that these spiders can hear sounds, something previously believed not to be true. Although they couldn't find ears anywhere on a jumping spider, they discovered the hairs on the legs of the jumping spiders can detect vibrations. This allows them to hear predators as they get close. Now, while jumping spiders have excellent vision, they require light to hunt and escape predation. So, at night, they retreat to a good hiding place. Bold jumping spiders are typically black with a distinct white triangle in their abdomen. Male bold jumping spiders can grow to about half an inch in length, maybe a tiny bit longer, while females can be a little bit longer than that. This spider here from some years back, who I named Big Bertha, was about 3/4 of an inch in length, not including her legs. And she was the largest Phidippus audax I have ever seen, before or since. Just look at her here with a full-grown wheel bug. She was massive. Both male and female are somewhat similar in appearance, but there are notable differences. Both are black and hairy overall, with a white stripe across the upper portion of the abdomen, and white spots, also on the upper abdomen. However, sometimes these spots are orange or reddish, especially in juveniles. Sadly, people sometimes confuse them with black widows because of the color variations. But just remember, black widows appear hairless and have very long legs, while bold jumpers are stocky and hairy. Also, both male and female usually have metallic green chelicerae. Chelicerae are the 2 appendages in front of the spider's mouth, which also have fangs underneath. In certain light, the chelicerae can sometimes appear blue. Touching on something I mentioned previously, the first thing I look at to distinguish the male from the female are the legs. Just look at the length of a male compared to the female. Also, females tend to have larger, more elongated abdomens. Although you may see them in and outside of your home, barns, and outbuildings, the vast majority of bold jumpers live in open woods, grasslands, and even gardens. In addition to the insects and spiders I listed previously, while outdoors, they will also eat true bugs and caterpillars. In spring, when crane flies are prevalent, bold jumpers often emerge from diapause and feed on those crane flies, which are relatively easy for the spiders to catch. Bold jumpers can be found pretty much all over the lower 48 United States. However, they're most prevalent east of the Rocky Mountains. Although I said they pose no threat to humans, bold jumpers can bite if mishandled. The bite can sting a little. Also, people with severe allergies can have a reaction to it. However, I have handled hundreds of jumping spiders over many decades and I have never been bitten. Additionally, many people keep jumping spiders as pets, and I guess they're relatively easy to care for. However, I would recommend thoroughly researching the matter beforehand. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.
Oh, hello. I'm Randy from Randy's Natural World. I hope you enjoyed the video on
The bold jumping spider.
Yes, that's it. Today I'm pretending to be a scientist. Maybe I'm doing research on a 5 o'clock shadow, I'm not sure. But that's neither here nor there. I'm hoping to speak to those of you who haven't subscribed yet. Here's a list of reasons why you should. It's free. You can't beat that price. Number 2, quality content. Always quality content. Number 3, YouTube allows unlimited subscriptions, so there's no reason not to. Anyway, number 4, are you a procrastinator? There's no need to procrastinate. And I know what you're thinking, Randy, I'll subscribe when I get around to it. Well, here's your round to it right here. Round to it. So go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead. A wise decision.